Hi there, and welcome to today's vlog. Yes, I'm in the open air, and believe it or not, I'm back in the beautiful island of Anglesey. We've been here for nearly a week, spending the time this time with my four sisters and their husband, and Sue, of course. So there's 10 of us all together. We've had a fantastic time. We've just had some wonderful weather for January. The sun is shining, and over that shoulder you might be able to see is a golf course surrounding the properties we are staying in. So we've had a great time, and I always, as I might have mentioned before, like to browse charity shops, bookshops, looking for some books I might like to read. And one of the books I picked up this week is this wonderful book. It's called The Happiest Man on Earth, subtitled The Beautiful Life of an Auschwitz Survivor, written by Eddie Jaku. Eddie Jaku writes in this book about his life, his upbringing in Germany, a proud German, but he was a Jew, him and his family, and the suffering that he went through as part of the Holocaust, and the atrocious things that were done to many Jewish people. Millions lost their lives. It was awful to read, but through it he comes to remarkably appreciate life and the freedoms that he has. So I want to just quote, there's so much in this book that I could quote to you, but I just want to quote a few things. And first of all, at the beginning he's talking about the what his dad told him, the beliefs and understandings that his dad told him. Let me quote: "If you are lucky enough to have money in a nice house, you can afford to help those who don't," he would tell me. That's his dad. "This is what life is all about, to share your good fortune. My father used to say to me that there is more pleasure in giving than in taking." Of course, that's what Jesus said, isn't it? That the important things in life, friends, family, kindness, are far more precious than money. A man is worth more than his bank account. I thought he was crazy then, but now, after all I have seen in this life, I know he was right. So that's true, isn't it? There's lots more important things than money and possessions and wealth, etc. Family, friends, and kindness to one another. The next little passage I want to read comes towards the end of the war, when the war's kind of drawing to a close, and when the Nazis realised that they'd lost the war, they didn't want to leave behind evidence of what had happened in the concentration camps. So Eddie was in Auschwitz, and so they took all the prisoners. They marched them on this massive long march through freezing weather. Many lost their lives. And I want to go on. He actually came to the point where he escaped, but he was so desperately undernourished and sick, he was almost at the point of death. He says, "I decided I couldn't go on. I was so sick I couldn't walk at all. I said to myself, if they shoot me now, they will be doing me a favour. I crawled on my hands and knees and made it to the highway. I looked up. Coming down the road, I saw a tank, an American tank. Those beautiful American soldiers I will never forget." So they wrapped him up, they put him in a blanket, they took him to the hospital, and the doctors wouldn't really tell him what was his situation, but he got hold of a nurse and said, "Look, you need to tell me what the doctors have said." She whispered in my ear, "You have a 65% chance of dying. You'd be lucky to have a 35% chance that you live." This is what Eddie wrote. "In that moment, I made a promise to God that if I lived, I would become an entirely new person. I promised I would walk from German soil and never come back to the land that had given me everything and then taken it from me. I promised that I would dedicate the rest of my life to putting right the hurt that had been done to the world by the Nazis, and that I would live every day to the fullest. I have a belief that if you have a good morale, if you can hang on to hope, your body can do miraculous things. Tomorrow will come. When you're dead, but where there is life, there is hope. Why not give hope a chance? It costs nothing. And my friend, I lived. And so he hung on to that hope in his life, and he made a promise to God that if he lived, he would transform his life. He would change it to be one that gives. And then the last, I realise I'm rushing through this, but there's so much else that I could share. One final little story: two Jewish girls who lived through the Holocaust suffered terribly. That they, even though they were now free, that they were in despondency, trying to take their own lives, but were rescued. And Eddie felt sorry for them, so he took them in. These were young women, and he took them into his apartment. He had others living there too, and he loved them and he cared for them and he nurtured them. And he says this: meeting and helping those girls really made me understand my father's advice, that it was the duty of the fortunate to help those who are suffering. It's better to give than to receive. And yeah, that is what Jesus said, and that is so important, isn't it? Better to give than to receive. There are always miracles in the world, even when all seems hopeless. And when there are no miracles, you can make them happen. With a simple act of kindness, you can save another person from despair, and that might just save their life. And this is the greatest miracle of them all. Well, we might want to query that because, of course, the greatest miracle is the transformation that Jesus can work in a person's life. But reaching out in kindness can transform not only another person's life, but our life too. So there's just a few thoughts. It's a great book if you ever get a chance to read it, by Eddie Jaku, the happiest man on earth. Really challenging, but really inspiring at the same time. In fact, he went on to live to over 100 years old. Remarkable. So that's my vlog for today. I'm just going to go and enjoy the rest of this day. Beautiful sunshine, a bit chilly in the air, but God bless you and thank you so much for listening today.